Review. Isekai Office Worker. The Other World's books depend on the bean counter. Episode 6. I made a proposal. Isekai Office Worker Episode 6. I made a proposal. Sees Kondu, Kentitu Mashal, magic and muscles, use his place in the purification expedition to set the wheels of change in motion for the entire kingdom. But when progress clashes with tradition, someone is bound to get upset. Opening with the party's arrival at the source of the miasma, we see Yua, Unikamakura, the Grim Variations, step onto the stage as she assumes her role as the Holy Maiden in Isekai Office Worker Episode 6. She manages to dispel about a third of the miasma before exhaustion overtakes her, and she must rest for the time being. While this series hasn't shown much in the way of flair, it could be reasonably hoped for a little bit of punch from this moment. Sadly, this is indeed the case. Bearing nothing more than the soft glows and sweet chanting of other magical spells in the series, this moment falls flat. The purification of the miasma has been a central element of the story since it began, so Isekai Office Worker Episode 6's underwhelming delivery of the moment feels like a miss. One could find more forgiveness for the moment if Yua had been acknowledged as falling short, or if perhaps something had gone wrong. But given how calmly everyone takes the result, it seems like this was a fairly expected outcome. Stepping in to salvage some of the moment is Kondu. Asserting the plan he has been discreetly setting up, he leads an attempt to seal the miasma source via a magical barrier. One that, if it works, would keep the kingdom safe from the threat, without kidnapping unassuming girls to play the role of the Holy Maiden. Just a bit of periodic upkeep on the spell is all it will take. The best part about Kondu's solution is the explanation of why no one had ever thought of it before. Despite the concept's obvious appearance, the kingdom had a system that worked for it through the summoning ritual. Therefore, no one bothered to find something better. This is one of those moments where you don't want to believe that people would be that lazy, but we all know otherwise. Tack onto the natural inclination to take the easiest path with the amount of inspiration and hope the Holy Maiden brings with her, and it gets even easier to see why the current situation would be viewed as idle. But even as others voice their objection to Kondu's attempt to undermine the Holy Maiden's position, Isekai Office Worker Episode 6 delivers a final fantastic argument for why they should adopt Kondu's plan. The Holy Maiden herself does want to be there. Turns out that magical powers and lavish gifts don't just pave over the trauma of being forcibly kidnapped into an entirely new world, with the possibility of no longer being needed and of potentially going home. Yua breaks down, letting her true feelings about the situation out. This moment helps deepen Yua's character. While she was willing to shoulder the burden of her office, if it was the only way the kingdom got to live, if that is no longer the case, she is done. And honestly, who could blame her? That she was willing to forgive her own kidnapping due to the circumstances shows an incredible amount of empathy and consideration. That she draws the line at a practical change in the scenario seems only fair. And hers is the only line we see drawn in Isekai Office Worker Episode 6. As the party returns to the palace, we find Indalark, Tomoki Maino, Octopath Traveler 0, once more getting a bit assertive in his treatment of Kondu. Despite Kondu's full awareness of his situation, the knight continues to insist on treating the man like a child. Only when Is discovers the pair does Kondu finally summon the strength to kick Indalark out. And wouldn't, he does collapse or anything afterwards, despite not having his magical barrier fully restored. Seeing Kondu slam the door on Indalark was a great moment. Whatever Indalark's motivations or feelings, he can just impose himself on Kondu without his permission. Even if he genuinely believes there is danger around, Kondu is a grown man and knows what the threat is. After all, it's happened to him once already. Isekai Office Worker Episode 6 sees both plot and character moments that are sure to leave a mark on the story. It will be curious to see how the series explores its new direction towards the kingdom's problem, as well as a hopefully more respectful relationship between Kondu and Indalark. Isekai Office Worker. The Other World's books depend on the bean counter. Episode 6 is streaming now on Crunchyroll. TL. Isekai Office Worker Episode 6 sees both plot and character moments that are sure to leave a mark on the story.